performances, and we're able to actually interact with all these things that are actually there.
Well, because because everything was practical.
Yeah.
You were working with a man whose face was burned off, or Santa Claus had fallen down the chimney and been caught on fire. You were seeing all of it in real time, so it was amazing.
It just gives you everything you need.
It's so much better than like a piece of
green
tape
screen.
on green screen, piece of tape on the floor, or a tennis ball. It's just it kind of inspires you. It's so refreshing to know what's going to happen. Oftentimes, sometimes you watch a movie back and you go, "Oh, that was it?
That's it. Yeah, that's what I was looking at."
How this happened? How we're gonna roll with this?
Soul Train sequence.
Oh yeah.
The train station in the afterlife was unbelievable. So bizarre. The entire all the dancers, they just killed it. It was so good.
Yeah, really cool.
I want to remember that day forever. They're super, silly and loose, and he kind of doesn't put too much pressure on you. He trusts the people that he works with, so he'll have all the conversations that you feel you need to have, but he does like to give space as well to let you kind of figure it out or throw out your own ideas. He's not like super strict on anything.
What connection do you guys have with the first movie, if any?
It's just kind of a staple in my childhood, I would say, which I think anyone else could say. Beetlejuice, I feel like I was aware of the character before I had even seen the movie because, the Halloween costume.
I have to ask you guys, do you believe in ghosts?
No. I don't think so.
Meanwhile,
Believe in ghosts.
Sure.
A lot of fans and such a background.
It's scary, definitely, because it's so loved and the people are so serious about it and care about it so much. But at the same time, what an honor. I can't believe that, Tim invited me to be a part of this one. And hey everyone, welcome to EW's Around the Table with Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. Remember, maybe Monica, what you felt or what you remember the most from the original movie?
I was a big fan already. I really loved it because it was scary, shocking, and funny and emotional.
It's also pretty special how, because Tim is naturally such a funny, humorous guy, I think he uses oftentimes, he turns to these jokes while talking about these deeper meanings, but then that means they kind of hit you when you're not expecting them. It's just kind of been this like underlying, growing, emotional story, and then he hits you with a really emotional beat between family members or, parents or, like a lot with the Maitlands in the original. And none of it should have worked. But I think with the team and story and the passion behind it, it turned into this kind of otherworldly sensation. But the plot doesn't make sense, nothing, but yet you still are able to resonate with it, which I think is really powerful. And I can't really compare it to any other film currently.
Came together, was really in sync, which is not often the case, and then the person shepherding it felt really just sort of in command, and that's a great feeling. And then when you can just have fun, then it just...
It's such a privilege to be able to work with puppets and not a tennis ball, and I feel like so much of this film, because it's so spontaneous and so erratic, I think that it's very easy to do a film that's maybe heavily CGI and be a little bit confused about where you stand and where you... But I think part of the reason why we were on the same page is because we were dealing with things that were real. And I think another reason why this movie works so well is because it's a magic trick. It's like when someone makes cards disappear in front of your hands. I think that's why it feels indie, because you're not watching somebody who spent hours at a computer working on something. You just witnessed something unbelievable that shouldn't work, and it's just a trick on the eye. I think that's why, that's what audiences need and want, and what we're not really getting from movies nowadays. So I think that's part of the reason why this is so interesting. It was really wonderful, and Tim's really great because he always shows references and images or drawings or things that he has in mind. So he showed me some of his sketches of the sandworms, and we also saw images of what they wanted for the worms, and then we shot, you know, with huge wind fans blowing each way to let us know when the worm was coming and when it was going, or little pockets of sand popping up out of the ground as we were running, so we knew that they were. And that is something that, it was weird, it definitely made it feel more real, which is strange talking about clay worms, but you really did feel like they were after you with the way that everything was, the ground was shaking or things were moving. I remember one time we were rehearsing outside of Winter River, which the way that we built it on the same hill, same town, same house, same measurements, everything. They had all the old notes from the original. And it was strange because we would be shooting and people who lived in that town in Vermont were coming over with books signed by Tim 30 years ago, or photos of the original Beetlejuice, like, oh, we were here when they first came back. And they had a little cinema and they were screening it all week. But it was so funny to, you know, be back in that world and see everything again. It felt like you were in the model shooting, which again, it's, if I would call my mom and my mom would try to talk to me about the day or talk to me, and I would describe something to her and she would just be so excited. I try not to give anything away to her because I want to make sure, but like if I told her, yeah, we all were with Catherine Winona, shooting at the original house, walking into the attic for the first time. It almost, there's like an emotion that overcomes you.
That was actually what happened.
It was fine. And so, but after like 35 years and thinking about like the Lydia character, and you think about yourself, like what happens to you in your life, you know, what kind of relationships do you have? You have kids, and what you know, special, what kind of very personal movie, and then working with, you know, Michael and Winona and Catherine again was very emotional for me, and then having Jenna, who I, you know, was very happy that she decided to do this, because it's like the movie is kind of, she's the sort of entrance into this world. She's
why did I even want to do what I do in the first place? Because that gets lost, you know. And to me,
you got a long road ahead of you.
yeah, no, it's true. You know, not for Jenna so much, but when Tim was talking earlier, we talked about this. You think, yeah, we've done all these things and they've been great. We've had kind of a good time, and some is not so much fun. And then you say, wait a minute, why did I want to do this in the first place? And so the opportunity to say, I want to go back and, you know, make something that I used to like to make, you know, not.
Jenna, it's the perfect time to, you know, keep on also the legacy of this film and what this film means also for this new generation, this new audience.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, Michael kind of touched on it. I feel like we're kind of getting older generations right at the sweet spot, because it was at such a, you know, transformative or inspirational time in their lives. And then for Beetlejuice or I've never been exposed to Lydia, I think it's really, really special, because we're just not really seeing things like this in movies nowadays, down to, you know, the practical effects. You know, usually you act with a tennis ball and pretend it's, you know, a dragon or, you know, something crazy. Work with, but it's also really wonderful working with these puppets and things, because there's these imperfections, and because it's a tangible thing, when you film it on screen, it's like you can see how imperfect it is, and I think that's what we need. I think people are used to watching movies and almost zoning out because there's so much CGI and this and that. So I think for young people who have been seeing these computer screens, it'll be really, really, I think, important to them just to see something that was really man-made. And
Beetlejuice, and for everything, basically. Thank you for, and this is the 81st Venice International Film Festival. I'm Chiara Nicoletti for Fred, the Festival Insider.
Thanks very much.
Grazie.
Thank you so much. Grazie.